Hello and welcome everyone to the biannual episode of 3D tutorials on this channel. I know this channel is extremely dead since the last time I posted a tutorial, but I haven't gotten any time to show off my, well, not show off, but like show my workflow and related problems and whatnot. So I have finally encountered one, so I suppose I'll just make a tutorial on it. And this one is about free 3D models downloaded from places such as Turbo Squid and Free 3D, etc. Sometimes these extremely big models do not come textured, as you can see. Mostly, like, either it's like some basic textures which are automatically assigned by the FBX export algorithm, the file format, not the algorithm, and the rest of them are purple because the textures are all missing. So I guess I'll just show you guys what the dealio is. Now I'm going to be using a lot of different tools and not doing a lot of the texturing myself, so this is a workflow for people who already know the basics of texturing so that they can save their own time and just use various types of tools and just knowing how to use the tools and what types of tools to use really saves up a lot of time in the long run. So the main one that we're going to be using is BlenderKit. Of course, you can see that up there. I also need to enable screencast keys. I remember this time. Shortcut viewer, yes, whatever. So you can see the keys down here, whatever I'm pressing. So essentially, BlenderKit, you can get it from their website. It's in the I'm gonna put the link in the description, but just in case, here is the website. So this is the one, blenderkit.com/getblenderkit. This will be in the description as well. So just go to this website and download BlenderKit version 3.0.5 and enable it as shown here. Preferences, add-ons, click install and find blenderkit.zip in a downloads folder and then just enable it. Now back to standard Blender. So once we have BlenderKit enabled, as you can see up here, we can find a bunch of stuff. We can find models, we can find materials, we can find scenes. Although I have never used this particular feature. Oh, it actually does give a bunch of scenes. Like if you, I guess, want to set up a background of a VFX shot or something, that's probably what that's for. But we also have HDRIs and brushes. HDRIs, I mostly just use Gaffer, as you can see. Gaffer's HDRI handle is enabled with the checkbox in the panel's header. So that's the one that I use. But you can use this as well, I suppose. Yeah, it has some good HDRIs. It actually has them like pretty high res as well. Although Gaffer does give you an option to download HDRIs from HDRI Heaven, like all of them, and you can select what resolution you want. I just selected 1K because I just need the lighting, and mostly in my scenes the skybox is not the most like focus point. But if you want to show something else in the skybox and actually want to use lighting of a different HDRI because you feel like that lighting looks better, that is totally doable. I might make a tutorial on that. It's a very cool shader setup. But we are interested in the materials panel, so we're gonna go with that. So this cafe, kind of, I guess we gotta, let's see what just suits. This countertop seems like it should be best suited for wood. Well, this part actually, which is going around, and the countertop itself should be made of like granite or something. So pressing N, going down to BlenderKit, we can actually search in categories. Wood is right there. It's 365. There's like a lot of textures. I'm pretty sure most of them are free, some are not. This looks like a fancy texture for a fancy cafe. I think I accidentally textured the countertop, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just like downloading, unpacking, and it textures right then and there. This is a little bit too much UV scaling on that, right? Texture that, there we go. Now for the top, and actually for the flooring as well, we'll use wood. we can use this. This looks pretty damn good as well. And for the countertop, I suppose we can use something like granite. So instead of searching up rock and whatnot, I'll just go and look up granite. Also, do not worry if your texture is being tiled a bajillion times. There's always a way to fix that. Absolutely. Polished granite white, that's the one that looks pretty damn good. We can put that on, or we could just take anything. That looks good as well. That looks very chic, so I'm gonna put that on. Overall, it's just like it's gonna give you this tutorial is gonna give you a sense of like what materials to use, because I remember the days when I just put anything that kind of looked slightly cool into my renders. Wow, that material is taxing. Stay a little bit like away from that. Yeah, the camera. So I'm gonna uncheck the use nodes on that, and I'm gonna make it black right now. During the render, I'll check use nodes and I'll just swap to this. All right. So yeah, this is gonna give you a sense of the what the scene like should feel like. You should not just like pick ridiculously extravagant materials or things that do not suit, because then it really gets out of hand and it looks ugly. I have some of my previous renders which like the materials just do not make a lot of sense. I'm gonna give you an example. Just let me dig one up. This is one of those renders right here. I'm just checking I have unpaused the recording or not. But yeah, this is one of those renders right there. Not very good texturing. As you can see, first of all, the karambit itself, yeah, there's probably a lot to be done on the model, but the things that are extremely wrong, like with the texturing especially, is the style of rubber that I chose. Absolutely just horrible. Look at that, like it's scratched up and there's like a lot of just weird scuffs on it. If I wanted to show off this knife today, I would have probably selected something like a carbon fiber grip. This material right here, this texture, the Doppler sapphire, it should have been given some transparency or metallicness so that it looks like a knife blade. It just looks plastic at this point. The granite, absolutely just flat. It should have been given like a strength, like a better normal strength, or maybe even some displacement. The edge where that granite meets with the edge of the room is just absolutely sharp. It just looks horrible. And the color, that's just disgusting. That texture wall, it should have been a concrete wall, yeah. But if it was going to be that way, I should have not placed it on a pedestal. If I wanted to give it a rugged look, like, oh my god, this like a freaking guerrilla warfare knife, I should have just put it with the concrete. You do not show off a guerrilla warfare knife embedded in a pedestal with its name written in gold and with very fancy wood engraving. It's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, returning back to the scene. Yeah, so that's that. And I also actually figured out something, that this granite texture, it's facing the same problem as this texture, which is it's scaled like ridiculously high. So we are going to go in there. Wow, okay, that is not right whatsoever. This is most probably just using the UVs and not generated textures. You know what, I'm not even going to go into UV editing for this one. Just tab U and Q projection. Q projection works most of the time. I think it should be fine. Let's go into UV editing again. Yeah, there we go. It should be fine, and it is fine for the most part. But as you can see, the texture is still pretty goddamn heavy. So the lag is the fault of the texture, the little speckles that are in it. It looks good though. So yeah, props on that. That texture looks solid. But now for the wood. So I'm just gonna set it to back to black. And the wood selected. A to select everything. U, Q projection. There we go. That just looks nice. Lining it up, that can be done without even going into the UV editing space. Just cube size, adjust that a little bit. How about 0.025? This looks pretty good. Yes. Yeah, you know what, we can actually go and adjust it in the UV editor because the checker box is not completely symmetrical. It's not completely fitting in, so expect a little stretching, but we can enable proportional editing and pull it down there like so. There we go. This makes a lot more sense. Perfect. So this is our counter now. The edges can also be matched pretty nicely, I suppose. This is the right edge. Let's bring it in a little bit. There we go. That's flush. The left edge, we can bring that a little bit towards the outside, and there we go. See? Much better. And Blender Kit just automatically puts the normal roughness, everything on that material as soon as you import it, essentially. So that is also great. Same with the floor now. Cube projection probably helped to have done it by project from view. Also, I'm going to remove this roof right now, and these curtains. I'm not going to be using these in my scene whatsoever. What the hell is that? Is that like okay, whatever that was, interesting. But yeah, we gotta scale this texture up now. Again, we can do that without going in the UV editing workplace, and just pick a size that makes sense. You know what wood flooring would be. Haha, I said wood 2 times, but it was not the same kind of wood. That's what she. No, I'm not gonna make that joke. All right. So this scale seems fine, and the flooring looks good. Awesome sauce. These things, which are already chrome, we are gonna just make them a little bit more metallic by reducing the roughness slightly. Perhaps even giving them a metal texture. You know what? Yeah, sure. Let's just anytime you can use a texture, it will take more of your graphic card's VRAM, but it will always give superior results. So we're not stressing too much here. I'm just gonna take some metal that looks nice, not cast iron. We need like modern metal. Car paint. You can find anything here. It's like legitimately extremely impressive. Procedural metal plates, that too. Corrugated metal zinc coated. No, it sometimes takes a bit of time to find what you need, but yeah, I'll get to that. There we go. I have found one that suits my interests. It's called Metal Semi-Rough 1. So it will give an impression of a used ish coffee place. It'll give a impression of like scratched metal. It has been there for a long time. This coffee shop's not exactly brand new, guys. So just cube project that as well. Most of these textures you do not need to meticulously unwrap them. Cube projection will work just fine. So I'm gonna now adjust the UVs so that they just fit correctly. As you can see, it's stretched a little bit. So let's unstretch it. I'm gonna turn off proportional editing and unstretch the hell out of this. As you can see, it is working, but something seems to be wrong, and that is, yeah, the cube projection has separated everything into these little parts. What is the front right now may not necessarily be the front in some places. For example, this and this are both front parts, but one's been rotated 90 degrees. So you can't really get a good sense of like, even if I scale it right now, I'll show you what problems are arising. Look at that. It's scaling normally towards here, but look at this stretching now. It's ridiculous. Let's try to employ some different techniques. I'm going to position my camera a little bit up here, and I'm going to focus on this part still. Let's try project from view, if that works. That seems to be working quite well, yes. And now take a look around. Exit orthographic. Yes, project from view worked. If you go into an orthographic and then just like move up 45 degrees by pressing number pad 2 to go down and 8 to go down and 8 to go up in like, I think it's 15 degree increments possibly, or maybe even exact half of 45, which I can't calculate off the top of my head right now. 23.5. No, not 20, 22.5. Yeah. Yes, that works too. See? So now we have gotten pretty good scratched metal surfaces. Most of these shaders have controls to them that you can actually modify. For example, the roughness is going into here. This RGB curves has been disabled, so we'll just take that off, I suppose, and disable that. Now this roughness, we can tweak it with a color ramp quite easily. Now if you have Node Wrangler enabled, Control Shift and click on this will give you what this texture looks like. And the blacker it is, usually in roughness, the more shiny it is and the less rough it is. So yeah, I think I'm going to turn the highest value a little bit down so that it all just turns shiny instead of some parts being ridiculous. Now we can see that is a little bit too shiny, so I'm just gonna turn it back up slightly. And yeah, a 0.5 value seems to be perfect. There we go. This is nice and shiny, looks pretty goddamn new. Now like this, texture rest of the parts. So everything metal semi-rough 1. We can do something such as, this material is called Karaoke. Nice, yeah, very. Select metal semi-rough, copy everything, go into Karaoke, delete everything, and then paste it. There we go. It will just use the same textures essentially now. So everything that was Karaoke, it has been switched with metal semi-rough. Nice. This glass can also be dealt with very easily in such a similar way. This is also the same material on several things. We can just reduce the roughness and up the transmission. Also, just making it black doesn't seem like the best decision if you are in a store like this. That's probably done for the sake of just uploading this on Turbo Squid for a good review, since there isn't really much of anything back there that you would like to look at with the glass. But I digress. Also, enable ambient occlusion. Look at how much difference it makes if you are rendering it in EV. Boom, bop, beep, bop, boop. Ambient occlusion is good. Screen space reflections even better. Also, if you can't see through your glass, enable refraction. Go into your materials, down here, settings, screen space refraction. It'll take a second to calculate. And there we go. Now we can see through this pretty much. Wait a second. No, we cannot. Why is that? Because it's metallic as well as transmissive. Genius. Absolutely genius. There we go. Do not make your glass metallic. That's how you make mirrors, not glass. So that's glass. And that's the inside of the furnace. Wow, okay. They actually did make that. That's very impressive. Nice. So we can see that this is coming together absolutely impeccably. This is a book type deal. Maybe something. It's a register of some kind. So I suppose I'll just replace it with paper. It would make sense that this would be paper to take customers' orders or something. Let's search up a paper material, and we have found, I can't actually see the name right there, so we'll exit. Wallpaper, paper, stylized pinata, cardboard, stylized pinata, Blender wallpaper, great. I've always wanted that. Crumpled paper. Let's find something which is pretty close. I think crumpled paper. I'm just like, my tongue is not working today. I'll just use the normal paper. This paper looks a little bit like from the 1980s and also like the recycled paper vibe. There we go. It's just gonna apply it in a sec. And any second now. Is it done, my lord? Okay, this paper doesn't look like much. Or actually, maybe the UVs are just too large. Haha, the UVs are just too large. So edit mode, every single face, I have selected that, and now just top down, since it's a 2D sheet, project from view. There we go. It looks like paper, I guess. You know what we can do? If you do not find a texture to your taste, this type of paper, we can actually use this in a way. This counter, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be placing a bottle here and then taking a render like this, with everything else kind of in the depth of field, like out of focus, just absolutely out of focus. So there we go. The paper has been applied, my lord. Nice. Again, every time, I do not know, whenever you apply the textures from Blender Kit, it messes up somehow. So I'm just going to project from view, bounce, bounce, scale to bounce, and we're gonna rotate it back slightly because this is not the correct orientation, nor is this. The paper is supposed to be like, the lines are supposed to go horizontally. There we go. That works. I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit. This is too many lines. If the hue is bad, just add in a hue satch node and make it something that suits your interests. I feel like this is too saturated. I think it needs to be less saturated. There we go. I suppose that is paper / cardboard. That works. Paper also has some subsurface, which I can just add with this. There we go. Subsurface color and subsurface radius. It looks like paper, somewhat. A little less subsurface, please. There we go. That works. And now we need to texture the back wall. The back wall. Right. So with flooring like this and to design on this like this, it's bound to have some kind of a cool looking wood pattern back wall. Like this, essentially. So we could just use this again, or we could use panels. That could work as well. What is that? That is bark. We do not need bark right now. Parquet, old wooden parquet. We could use that. We could use, no, we're not an Indian restaurant. We can use that. This suits. It's all about trial and error, just seeing what fits nicely, that is. Also, I just realized the fridge uses the same texture as the everything else essentially in this scene, and the fridge is not supposed to be that scratched up. But we're going to be taking a render from this view, this angle anyways. So can I complain a lot? I do not think so. There we go. That has been applied, but that does not look right. A lot of things can go wrong, such as incorrect UVs yet again. Again, I'm going to just look at it head on because it's 2D and project from view. Scale to bounce, just to get the original thingy out of the way. And that looks a little too old. It needs to be a little saturated. So I feel like the wooden parquet would have fitted in better than the old one. Yeah, that one. But then again, some of the panels are just like the same color, essentially. We could legitimately just try panels 03. Yeah, let's just use panels 03. Unpacking files, and it's going to be applied in a quick sec, and it is done. Again, look at it head on, project from view, scale to bounce. It's very red. It's very red. It's like a very crimson color. We can change that, absolutely. Hue satch value. I do not remember how you activate a node which is silenced, but do not worry about that. Also, I do not know why this mix shader is right here, and I do not mind, and I'm going to remove that. So alright, this is quite red. We can change the hue towards the browner section, which is generally ahead, so 0.55 looks quite brown. Yes, and that suits a little bit of this flooring as well. Maybe a little redder though. 0.054. Yes, and up the value of this texture so that it matches slightly everything else that is in here. So 1.5 seems good. look at that. This is a pretty damn good texture as well. If you feel like it doesn't match too much, I feel like it does, but sometimes, yeah, things can feel a little bit off, but especially if I'm just gonna render like this, that looks more than good. But yeah, again, these two match pretty good because they have a very nice matching color scheme. If you want, you can just put that material right there. Just like click that, click this, Control L, link materials. That works. This looks a little weird because it's the two same tiles but on different scales. So yeah, I'm just gonna use this. Now for these shelves. Hello darkness, my old friend. These shelves, they should have just been textured the basic metal. Anything, essentially. Also, I'm going to Alt-H and bring back the walls, except take off the roof, because we just do not need the roof at all. So here's the wall, and the wall can also be given the same Park Wet link materials. But yeah, the scale on the wall is very wrong, so we need to fix that so that it fits. Scale is very, very important, guys. Extremely important. So looking at it from here, it is a little bit too wide. I'm going to turn that off, the overlays. And now time to match. This feels almost right. I think another few expansions should do it. Yep, that matches perfectly. There we go. Look at that. So those textures align pretty well. They merge, and now since the wall is actually there, it makes a whole lot of sense. We can actually do another thing with the flooring, and that is to change the flooring's hue so that it matches with the walls a little bit better. This is our playground. We choose to do whatever we feel like. So I'm just gonna take down the value a little bit. I feel like a couple notches should be good, like this. Yeah, sure. And the hue, shift the hue in an interesting direction, like a 0.525. That's a little bit too much. 0.51 or 0.5, just straight up. So the less it goes, the more towards red it is. So 0.505. There we go. That's very subtle, but it sells the effect nicely. Another thing, wow, these grids are just, wow, it's just all little teeny tiny pieces. 3D geom. Is everything called 3D geom? Oh god. Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it up 10 meters into the air. I typed in exactly 10, so I know that. This is also, along with these bells, these, you know what, I'm gonna actually combine these gosh darn bells, Jesus, with the handles. It's all separated, and everything has an empty for whatever reason at their origin, well, or near their origin. This is reminding me of the time where I had to do things to things imported from Morrowind. That was not very fun. Everything had an empty assigned to it, and it sucked hard. But usually those types of problems are easy to clean because the people who made Morrowind actually named everything correctly. So it was easy to just like separate it via names from up here. But everything in this scene is just called 3D geom. That doesn't help much. These panels, these are supposed to be menus, I'm quite sure. So I'm just gonna combine this onto gigantic menu. Combine that billboard. I'm pressing Ctrl J, by the way. I do not know why the shortcut viewer is not showing up. It is. It was just hidden. Cool. Up there, 10 meters. This chimney will also interfere. Hide it for the time being. Or actually, you know what? Just send it up 10 meters as well. This whole thing is select every single piece. Wait a second. First of all, empties. Part 104. If I grab this empty. Everything is, you know, yeah, just clear parent and keep transformation. I pressed Alt P, by the way. Now if I move this, yes, it does not suck anymore. And again, if I wanted to select all these empty, I'm not gonna do it like one by one. That would drive me insane. Instead, in object types visibility, turn off selection for every single thing. I just turned off visibility as well. Whoops. Turn off selection for every single thing except empties, and then press A. You will only select empties, and now to hell with them. Great. Now re-enable everything else, and yeah, I'm gonna select all of this grid, join it together. Oh yeah, I need to select an active object first. There we go. And now merge by distance, just to remove some nasties that might have snuck in there. Oh wow, that broke the shading. Well, we have auto smooth. Oh, it has again, any model that you may get online, they have custom split normals data. Just go into the object data properties and clear it, and then your auto smooth will work as intended, of course. So now this grilling actually can get like some nice metal. I could give it metal wire. No, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Metal scratched, that looks pretty cool. Or just plain this brushed metal type deal. This is pretty cool. This is like two metals combined. It's like galvanized. It's almost Damascus. Hey, that suits pretty good. Project from view, no cube projection this time. Look at that. That's pretty cool looking. So we got that set up. We're gonna take this. We're gonna give it metal scratched. It's just gonna apply in a couple of secs. That is very, very scratched. That is, I should have just taken heat to the name. This metal. Let's go with you. You seem nice. Is it done? Unpacking files. Okay, it's gonna take a hot minute. There we go. Shaders compilation. You can always see if something is just untextured or something is calculating. That is just like the goddamn granite. Why is everything just like little particles? Don't do that. Brushed metal. Let's see what brushed metal looks like. See, it's just a lot of trial and error until you get what suits your scene, essentially. Now up here, talking about this, these goddamn bells. These bells can get metal scratched, and I think it will actually suit them. And they were actually not bells, they were light bulbs. Haha. Eyes. Learn to use them, please. So that's the metal scratched. I'm pretty sure that's the metal scratched, which is on the outside of these lamps. Or this. It could be anything, really. I can actually go and select, another fun feature. Select the material and then select. It'll show you, see, there we go. That's the metal scratched, supposed to be, essentially. So I'm just gonna go here, I'm gonna search up metal scratched. Boom. And it works, it just works. Select everything again, cube projection. I went into orthographic just to eliminate like anything else. Yeah, see, it's working better that way. The bulbs don't really want to work. Well, that's the inside. Ooh, a blue inside looks kind of cool though. Nice. The bulbs, these are the bulbs. We gotta replace them with light logo. No, I said light. Oh shit. You can use IES textures, which basically add in a throw pattern for the light. Those only work in cycles as far as I'm aware of, but you can actually find a bunch of IES textures online. I'm pretty sure they're even provided sometimes by the manufacturer of certain bulbs. Yeah, I'm gonna just enable emission because they are bulbs and they need to be a little bit oh, by the way, another thing, if you want to make realistic looking bulbs, do not do what I'm doing right here. Do not turn your emission color into things. There is a much better way of doing these things, and that is by sticking to what works in real life and physics, called black body. Now you can select your temperature by plugging the color into that, and the higher the temperature is, the bluer the light color is, the more non-red essentially. So 2500 seems to be like the good point, and I can just crank up the emission strength after that up to 10, and those look like some nice bulbs. Also with the background, like a logo type deal, I think that's what it is, logo, yeah. I'm gonna just remove all of that and select all of this and assign everything to Pikachu, whatever that is, Pikachu. Again, another thing, a lot of another things in this tutorial apparently. If everything's triangulated, select it all. F3 tries to quads. If it was originally a quad and the exporting triangulated it, it will set it back to quads, which is nice, as they say in my language, which is English. Yes. Yeah, Pika. Pika needs to be diffuse texture 1. I'm just gonna remove that, and I'm just gonna turn it into some random jumbo gumbo. I'll just make it emissive. I was gonna think I'm gonna put some like a McDonald's menu up there. No, that's fine. It doesn't need to be McDonald's. Who eats at McDonald's anyways? Am I right? Oh, I'm gonna trigger a lot of people. Minus 10. Yay. Here is everything back to its normal state. And the camera is gonna be up there. Okay, I need to actually put something up there. I'm just gonna get to it in a sec. That metal brushed looks not too shabby, but it is a little bit too intense of a normal map in this, in my opinion. Or that's just the texture. That is literally just the texture. Wow, that is actually the texture. The texture is too intense. Well, we can fix that slightly by going into UV editing once again. I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees so that the brushing is going that side, and then just scale it, no, not that, this down so that the brushings increase. Yeah, scale it up, I meant, by 5. There we go. And this is slightly blue. Again, hue satch. He's your friend. Use him wisely. Reduce the saturation to 0.75 or 0.5 or 0.25, whatever floats your boat. And again, select this. If that's not textured, link materials. The knife block is all of a sudden textured, and the knives, they're just generic metal. I don't care about them. This just works. It is the exact color that I would have wanted it to be. So thank you about that. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, so the McDonald's thing now. About that, what can we do? I'm gonna get a McDonald's menu from the internet. Be right back. Here I have the McDonald's menu. This is the paper version. This is not the actual things that they put up here. Although it actually works pretty damn good. It's a little blown out for whatever reason. I'm just gonna get another hue and saturation and just up the satch. If it's that weird looking, I think that's due to the random, the color. I can turn up the emission strength to 5. Yeah, there we go. Now it's looking like a McDonald's thing. Wow, that looks that literally looks deep fried as hell. That normal map's probably not doing anything good. If you just have to make an emissive surface, how about just use an emission node? It cuts down on the, yeah, there we go. This seems to be doing it much better than whatever the hell that previous principal BSDF was doing. So there we go. That's the menu, and it actually fit quite well, coincidentally. Yeah, great. You can enable bloom if you want. I am not going to do that because that is a little bit too intense. Or I can just actually go and reduce the intensity of the bloom to 0.01, and that works too. So yeah, look at this, look at where we are, guys. Where are we? We are in the ground. No, we are in our epic cafe-esque restaurant type deal that we have textured ourselves. Went from an untextured mess to a textured masterpiece. No, I'm not gonna say that, but I feel like this looks quite good. So if you like this, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something.